Today, we will talk about the business cycle, what it is, how to measure it, the 4 phases. Business cycles are a type of fluctuation found in the aggregate economic activity of a nation. They consist of expansions occurring at about the same time in many economic activities, followed by similarly general contractions. This sequence of changes is recurrent but not periodic. In essence, business cycles are marked by the alternation of the phases of expansion and contraction in aggregate economic activity, along with the comovement among economic variables in each phase. A recession is not simply defined as 2 consecutive quarters of decline in real GDP. Rather, it's a specific sort of vicious cycle with cascading declines in output, employment, income, and sales that feed back into a further drop in output. On the flip side, a business cycle recovery begins when that recessionary vicious cycle reverses and becomes a virtuous cycle with rising output triggering job gains, rising incomes, and increasing sales. The severity of a recession is measured by the 3 Ds, depth, diffusion, and duration, while the strength of an expansion is determined by how pronounced, pervasive, and persistent it turns out to be. The National Bureau of Economic Research determines the business cycle chronology, considering a recession to be a significant decline in economic activity spread across the economy, lasting more than a few months, and normally visible in real GDP, real income, employment, industrial production, and wholesale retail sales. The post-World War II recoveries from the devastation resulted in strong trend growth spanning decades. With strong trend growth, it's difficult for cyclical downswings to take economic growth below zero and into recession. For countries like Germany, Italy, Japan, and the US, history has shown long expansions. During the period, stock price downturns usually occurred around business cycle downturns. However, in the post-World War II period, a better one-to-one relationship existed between stock price downturns and growth rate cycle downturns. Following the Great Recession of 2007-09, smaller 10% to 20% corrections clustered around the intervening GRC downturns. The prospect of a recession usually brings about a major stock price downturn, but the prospect of an economic slowdown, and specifically, a GRC downturn, can also trigger smaller corrections and, on occasion, much larger downdrafts in stock prices. In general, the business cycle consists of 4 distinct phases: expansion, peak, contraction, and trough. According to U.S. government research, the business cycle in America takes, on average, around 5.5 years since World War II. Here are 4 key takeaways. 1. Business cycles are comprised of concerted cyclical upswings and downswings in the broad measures of economic activity, output, employment, income, and sales. 2. The alternating phases of the business cycle are expansions and contractions, also called recessions. 3. Recessions often start at the peak of the business cycle, when an expansion ends, and end at the trough of the business cycle, when the next expansion begins. 4. The severity of a recession is measured by the 3 Ds, depth, diffusion, and duration, and the strength of an expansion by how pronounced, pervasive, and persistent it is. Hope this would help. Thanks for watching.